There are three key tasks for the new Prime Minister and the new leader of the Conservative Party. The first is to deliver Brexit, because all the discussion we're having about parliamentary manoeuvres and so on, people voted to leave. People like me who campaigned for Remain should accept the result of that as Democrats. So the first task, which I think Boris is best qualified of anyone, is to deliver that Brexit. And secondly, move on to uniting the party and the country, and then defeating Jeremy Corbyn. Because
you voted Remain, you backed Theresa May's deal, you told us many times on this programme how bad a no-deal Brexit would be for the country, and now you're supporting the man who told us, come what may, deal or no deal, we are leaving. What are we to make of you?
Well, I don't want there to be no deal, and indeed Boris doesn't want there to be no deal. He thinks, rightly, that his determination will mean that we will be able to get a deal.
So just by being determined, you can say that it'll all be fine?
Well, we know what the difference is. We know what the problems were with the deal which I voted for, which couldn't get through, because the current backstop is never going to get through the House of Commons, the current Irish deal, and Boris has talked sensibly about alternative arrangements at the Irish border.
And yet you're supporting a man who said, come what may, deal or no deal, we will leave on the 31st. You told, I'm sure you don't need reminding, you told the Federation of Small Business no deal would be economically catastrophic. That was last October.
Yes, and I would much prefer there not to be no deal.
Economically catastrophic.
There is
You're
one
going
thing.
to tell businesses now, even though you've said it will be economically catastrophic, that you're backing the man who may take us out with no deal.
There is one thing that would be a worse catastrophe for the British economy, and that would be a Jeremy Corbyn government. And I think that the danger of having set one deadline in March and having lost a Prime Minister over it, if we've set another deadline of October the 31st and we miss that, then the political consequences for confidence in the whole political system will be huge, but also it will lead to a general election, and at that state, I will argue for a Tory vote, but I fear a Corbyn government, that would be worse.
Leaving aside the fact that no deal would probably be the quickest and easiest route into a Corbyn government, don't you think that the worst possible thing is trust in politicians at this point? It's based upon people believing the stuff that you say, believing it when you come on this programme, believing it when you tell small businesses that no deal will be economically catastrophic, and expecting that you might still believe it a few weeks later.
Well, I don't want it to happen. I still believe I would much prefer, it would be much better for the British economy for there to be a deal. So why are you supporting a man who says that's fine, we might have to do it? Because that's what people voted for, and we might have to do it.
They didn't vote for no deal. You just heard Hilary Benn. There was no vote for no deal.
But there was also no vote for saying after 3 years, OK, we'll have a deal that's been rejected by Parliament, and on the only other thing on the ballot paper will be Remain, will be sort of revoking the 2016 referendum. So I don't think that's democratic. I do think there's a huge crisis of confidence in our political institutions because Parliament as a whole has failed to deliver on the result of the 2016 referendum. And as a Democrat, I fear for the future of our democracy
if we don't do that. But why, as a Democrat, do you not fear about what you're doing to public trust, to the political fabric our democracy is built on? When they believe you, when they see you as a loyal supporter of Theresa May one minute and then see you as the man supporting Boris Johnson the next?
I voted for Theresa's deal 3 times and it didn't get through the House of Commons. As a Democrat, when I lose a vote, I say, OK, we have to do something else because the people have told us to do something else. And I take that about the deal.
Flip side. She tried harder than anyone to make sure no deal didn't happen, and you're now saying, well, we've tried that, so maybe.
Hang on. She always said at the time that no deal was better than a bad deal. The House of Commons has decided.
Well, she clearly didn't believe it because she ended up delaying Brexit rather than seeing us go for no deal.
With the consequences, both for her, very sadly, but also the consequences for confidence in the political system that we now see. I absolutely don't think we can go through another deadline and expect there to remain confidence in the political system.
So you're prepared. You are prepared then to have no deal?
Well, I'm prepared. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen because I also think, as it happens, that focusing everyone's mind, saying this deadline we're really serious about, will make it more likely that we'll get a deal. And I think Boris is preeminently qualified to do that.
Do you think they can't hear you? Do you think the EU leaders don't speak enough English to understand what that means? When you say focusing everyone's minds, are you basically saying this is our trick?
No, I don't mean it's a trick. I just think that if people don't believe that you're negotiating seriously, if people think you're going to slide through every deadline, then they won't negotiate.
But they can hear you saying this. So actually, what are you trying to say?
What I'm saying is
that you will go ahead with no deal.
Well, absolutely. That's what Boris has said.
Right.
And it would be sensible for European leaders to believe him, because he has always campaigned on this. We have all seen, those who voted Remain or voted Leave, we've all seen the effects of missing deadlines in the past. So actually, saying this is a real deadline seems to me to change the terms of the debate. I'm not playing a trick. It's just actually saying we mean what we say.
You will be aware, though, that this looks cowardly, expedient. It looks like a man who was sacked from the cabinet for lying, now turning around and saying, I'm in with the new guy now, and I'd quite like another job.
No, well, I started off this campaign supporting Matt Hancock, so I didn't...
and he's done the same.
I wasn't doing that. Well, we have both taken the same view, which is that what we want is to deliver Brexit and actually to have a moderate, one-nation Conservative government. That seems to be an entirely sensible course to take, and it will be best for the country to put Brexit behind us, to get a deal done, to exit the European Union, and then to move on to the many other areas of policy that people really care about.
Well, I'm glad you brought us on to that, because tomorrow's Telegraph looks at the Boris Johnson plans for Cabinet and the positions that he would be slashing. We understand DUP, justice, international trade, culture, business. Those are all areas that you'd be happy to see go from Cabinet, are they?
Well, I've not seen tomorrow's Daily Telegraph yet.
Does that sound like something he's serious about?
The DWP is going to disappear from Cabinet?
That's one of the ones they're talking about. Work and pensions, justice, business,
That's a
culture.
third of all public spending. I mean, it just seems hugely unlikely to me.
He would close departments.
I mean, yeah, but...
Did he not tell you this, Damian?
Well, I'm not sure he's told the Daily Telegraph this either, because I just find that quite an extraordinary proposition.
So it's probably not true, is what you're saying?
Well, I have no idea.
Hope it wouldn't
the
be
first
true.
I heard about it was 3 minutes ago, and I think, as I say, for many of those examples, did you say justice as well?
Yeah. Merging. Could be merging, cutting departments, and those are the ones that they're talking about.
You can always play with Whitehall departments, but I think saying that you wouldn't have a cabinet minister responsible for the colossal welfare and pensions budget would seem strange.
OK, Damian Green, thanks very much.